You're only a sophomore. That means that you started getting the interest from Division I programs, as a freshman. Just kind of take me back through the timeline of that.
Yeah, I mean, it really started to pick up around right before high school, and then that was just a couple of mid-majors, and then after the summer of this last year of AAU ball, it started to really pick up, and I was picking up offers left and right. I was visiting a bunch of places, and it just every other place didn't just feel like home, and I didn't click with every other place. So, that's just really where it all began, I guess.
Yeah. When did K-State first come into the picture?
It was middle of July, I think, maybe earlier. I'm not really sure. But I went on a visit there, got my offer at the visit, and I just kept coming back. I went to a couple games before I committed this winter, and it just really showed me I got to be on the court, and then I really was bonding with the team quite a bit. And I'm not going to play with any of those girls except for the freshmen, but just seeing how genuine everybody is, and I've spent time with literally the whole staff. They've spent time with literally my grandparents who are even from Florida, so it's hard to come by, but they just really showed they cared, and that's what meant a lot to me. So.
Yeah, and we saw Jeff Mitty was coming to Washburn Rural basketball games earlier this season. Just how awesome was it seeing that commitment from him? When you're only a sophomore, a lot of times it doesn't come until later down the recruitment line. Yeah,
it just showed me how much he cares too. I'm pretty sure Coach Halliburton, an assistant, wanted to come to that game and was going to, and he overruled her, and he wanted to come to the first game. So it just shows he cares and that the staff cares. And Coach Falco, the recruiting coordinator, said she was watching my games, so that's always cool. And she's typically not watching games, Coach Halliburton said. So it's just cool how everybody seems to care and wants to watch. So.
Yeah, this is a pretty exciting time for K-State women's basketball, making it to the NCAA tournament last year and hosting. Did you go to any of those games last year by any chance? Did you follow them along at all?
I didn't. I don't think I was starting to get recruited by them quite then, but I was watching, obviously, on TV and stuff like that. I was rooting for them because they're so close, and I just kind of been following it along ever since, I used to be a big OU fan, it was a dream school, and then I just kind of drifted away and kind of towards more K-State, and then once I got that offer, it's okay, this is set in stone, I know what I want to do now, so yeah.
I think that'll make K-State fans happy hearing that they took you from OU.
Yeah.
But I know you went to the game earlier last Sunday, and you saw a crazy amount of fans in attendance, over 7,000, near 8, I think. Just how awesome is it seeing the community that rallies behind K-State women's basketball?
Yeah, it's really cool. It's always fun seeing little kids with baby gap goats and stuff like that. So it shows importance to women's basketball there, and you can just tell how much money and just value is put into that program because of how much they love women's basketball in Manhattan. So
you mentioned the gap goat. It's one of my favorite things about the team. What's your take on it?
I think it's great. I think it started with Gabby Gregory, and I think it's blossomed into such a great thing for them. And I even heard Caitlin Clark talking about it just on a podcast, saying that's one of the biggest things in women's basketball, and it shows it's got a big following on Instagram too. So
yeah, and you mentioned Caitlin Clark. Just the rise of women's basketball, especially at the college level right now. How cool is it to be a high school student kind of growing into it when it's starting to gain so much popularity?
Yeah, it's really cool just seeing I wasn't necessarily watching women's WNBA basketball a long time ago, or when it first came about, but now just seeing the pictures of a New York Liberty game in some weird old gym, and then now they're in the Barclays Center, so it just shows it's really cool just to see it all, though. So
yeah, as someone who's closer to the young side of it, little girls watching players like that, just how awesome do you think the growth of the sport has been?
Yeah, I think it's been really good, just development and skill, just skill development in the WNBA players, college girls. It's just gotten better and better and better, and I think earlier, 2010 maybe, it was okay, very dynamic, and now we've got flashy passes, we've got people dunking, so I think it just really shows the growth in women's basketball. So.
Yeah, and you're about to, in a few years, enter college women's basketball. Just you're going to be at K-State. I mean, just how excited are you to grow all your skill and your talent heading into those years with Coach Mitty and them? Yeah,
I'm definitely going to be trying to work with them, see what they want me to work on, and work with their strength coach, see what he wants me to get stronger in and stuff like that. So just all of it, just working to be the best version of myself for them and be effective my freshman year. So.
Yeah, and I know you do a lot of basketball stuff outside of just the high school level with Washburn Rural, but in terms of Washburn Rural, you had over 500 points in your freshman year. You're over halfway to 1,000 career points as a sophomore. Do you ever stop and think it's pretty cool?
I mean, a little bit, but I mean, none of it would have happened without teammates and coaches. So I'm just blessed to be a part of that program and be under the influence of Coach Bordwick and all the girls on the team. So.
Yeah, I know you're only 2 years into your high school year, but just what does being a part of the Washburn Rural community mean to you?
I mean, it's just really cool because we get a pretty good showing for our games too, and no, it's been really fun. I've just enjoyed every moment of it. Even all the tournaments have been super fun and state, and it was all really good. So. Yeah,
and I mean, you still got 2 more years ahead of you after this season's over. Just what are the biggest things that you want to improve on in your basketball skills?
I definitely want to improve on finishing through contact and just finishing in general. I feel like I can make more shots than I normally could, and then passing and defense is always something I should work on. So all of that in just over 2 months.
Yeah, we know the Wildcats pride themselves on their defense, so
yep.
I'll love to hear that. But I mean, you still have a lot more time ahead of you until you get to that college level. But when it comes to, getting there, and you're going to be in your hometown state, in your home state of Kansas. Was that always something that, you said you were an OU fan, but how beneficial and how awesome do you think it is to stay close to home and to stay, local and keeping Kansas talent in Kansas? I mean, I definitely think it's super cool. I mean, just having all of my friends and family be able to come watch, and most of my extended family lives in Kansas City, so they'll be able to come watch too. So it's just really cool to me just to represent where I'm from, and I mean, it's just generally cool. So. Yeah, and now pretend we're talking to K-State Nation right now. They don't know a lot about you yet. What do you want the Wildcat fans to know about Maddie Vickery? I mean, I feel like I can do everything, so be on the lookout, start watching games, see what you're in for. Stop by Washburn Rural. You heard her.